Warfare has a new face. The battlefield, once defined by trenches and tanks, is now dominated by machines that fly unseen and strike without warning. The age of the drone is here, and it's transforming how wars are fought and won. No longer defined by boots on the ground, conflict is now shaped by remote, persistent machines operated from thousands of miles away. Human presence on the front lines is being replaced by screens, joysticks, and data streams. From Afghanistan to Ukraine, drones redraw front lines from thousands of miles away, shifting the balance of power and rewriting the rules of engagement. The battlefield is now a network, a stream of data, a decision made in a distant control room, where every move is tracked, analyzed, and executed with digital precision. Drones have evolved from simple surveillance tools to hunter-killer platforms, loitering for hours, striking with precision, and changing the tempo of war. This shift challenges old ideas of sovereignty and what it means to be a combatant. The very definition of warfare is being rewritten in real time. When a strike can be launched continents away, where does the battlefield begin or end? The lines are blurred and the consequences ripple far beyond the target. The political risk of intervention drops, but so does the sense of accountability. Decisions made in silence can have devastating effects on the ground. Today, drone technology is spreading fast, no longer just for superpowers. Nations large and small are racing to develop and deploy their own fleets. Off-the-shelf drones can be weaponized, blurring the line between civilian and military tech. The tools of war are now available to almost anyone with the means. Air power is now accessible to many, creating new vulnerabilities and shifting global power. Even small groups can wield significant force, changing the nature of conflict. The unseen battlefield is expanding, and the rules are being written in real time. Every day brings new challenges, new threats, and new ethical dilemmas. The consequences are profound and often deadly. Civilians and soldiers alike must now live with the constant presence of eyes in the sky. The drone's hum is the new sound of war, a reminder that the future of conflict has already arrived. Military drones began as simple eyes in the sky, model airplanes for reconnaissance, quietly observing enemy movements from above. These early machines were basic, but they marked the start of a technological revolution in warfare. In Vietnam, early UAVs like the Ryan Model 147 risked dangerous skies to gather intelligence, flying over hostile territory to capture crucial images and data that would have been impossible to obtain otherwise. The real leap came with satellite communications and miniaturization in the 1990s, allowing drones to be controlled from thousands of miles away and making them more reliable and versatile than ever before. The Predator drone, first unarmed, revolutionized real-time battlefield awareness, streaming live video to commanders and changing how decisions were made in combat. After 9/11, the Predator was armed with Hellfire missiles, transforming it into a hunter-killer capable of striking targets with precision from afar and shifting the balance of power on the battlefield. Drones could now find, fix, and finish targets, projecting force into remote regions without boots on the ground, and allowing militaries to reach adversaries in places once thought inaccessible. The MQ-9 Reaper took this further: more payload, longer endurance, deadlier strikes, and the ability to loiter over targets for hours, waiting for the perfect moment to act. Drones became the weapon of choice for asymmetric warfare and counterinsurgency, offering persistent surveillance and rapid response in complex, ever-changing environments. But with this power came controversy, civilian casualties, legal gray zones, and ethical dilemmas that sparked global debate about the true cost of remote warfare. The drone's evolution outpaced our understanding of its consequences, leaving policymakers and the public struggling to keep up with the rapid changes in their far-reaching impacts. The line between observer and executioner blurred, as operators thousands of miles away could now decide life and death with the push of a button. Drones changed not just how wars are fought, but who fights them, and who pays the price, as families and communities far from the battlefield are drawn into the conflict. The shadow war had begun, waged in secrecy and silence, with drones prowling the night skies in search of their next target. The world would never see conflict the same way again, as the age of the drone forever altered the landscape of war and peace. The Middle East became the proving ground for drone warfare. In Afghanistan and Iraq, drones like the Predator and Reaper hunted insurgent leaders, providing surveillance and precision strikes. Remote-controlled warfare promised fewer civilian casualties and no risk to American troops. But the reality was more complex: bug splat, civilian deaths, and growing resentment on the ground. Signature strikes targeted patterns, not identities, fueling fear and extremism. Drones became symbols of distant, unaccountable power. Other nations took note. Turkey, Iran, and Israel developed their own drones, shifting the regional balance. Turkey's Bayraktar TB2S proved effective in Syria and Libya. Iran armed proxies like the Houthis, who struck Saudi and UAE targets. Even basic drones could have strategic impact. The Middle East showed the world drones are here to stay. The technology spread, and the rules of war changed. The sky was no longer a sanctuary. Ukraine became the world's first true drone war. Facing a larger Russian force, Ukraine used drones like the Bayraktar TB2 to destroy tanks and air defenses. Viral videos of drone strikes boosted morale and international support. But the real revolution was the mass use of cheap commercial drones for reconnaissance and attack. 3D-printed parts turned quadcopters into bombers, democratizing air power for small units. Russia adapted, deploying its own drones and importing Iranian Shahed 136 kamikaze drones to strike cities and infrastructure. The skies became a deadly contest, drone versus drone, drone versus air defense. Drones became essential for intelligence, targeting, and direct attack. Counter-drone systems and electronic warfare became critical. Thousands of drones are lost each month, now treated as expendable ammunition. The war in Ukraine is a blueprint for future conflict. Drones are no longer a luxury, they're a necessity. The battlefield has changed forever. The age of expendable machines is here. The drone revolution is reshaping global power. Air superiority is no longer reserved for the richest nations. Middle powers and non-state actors can now field credible air threats at low cost. Turkey, China, and Iran export drones worldwide, shifting influence and fueling a new arms race. Drones allow nations to strike with plausible deniability and minimal risk. Proxy wars and gray zone conflicts are on the rise, making the world more volatile. US military assets, once safe, are now vulnerable to long-range drone attacks. Power is measured not just in carriers, but in the ability to deploy and defend against swarms of intelligent machines. The chessboard is being rearranged. The rules of power projection are changing. Drones are the new currency of influence. The global balance is in flux. The sky is open to all. Drones have rewritten battlefield tactics. The modern battlefield is transparent. Concealment is nearly impossible. Large formations are easy targets for drone-directed artillery or loitering munitions. Armies now disperse into smaller mobile units to survive. Drones compress the kill chain. One operator can find, track, and destroy a target in minutes. The tempo of battle is faster, deadlier, and more stressful. The constant threat from above creates relentless anxiety for soldiers. Camouflage, electronic countermeasures, and drone discipline are now essential. FPV kamikaze drones give infantry cheap, precise strike capability. Poor man's cruise missiles. Even heavy armor is vulnerable. The battlefield is a contest of machines and minds. Survival means hiding from both enemy and machine. The rules of engagement are being rewritten in real time. Drone warfare brings new ethical challenges. Distance between operator and target can make killing feel abstract, like a video game. This detachment risks dehumanizing both victims and operators. Accountability blurs. Was a civilian death a technical error, bad intelligence, or policy? Secrecy and lack of transparency fuel criticism and accusations of extrajudicial killing. Legal gray zones emerge when states use drones for targeted killings outside declared wars. Due process is bypassed. Governments act as judge, jury, and executioner. The psychological toll on operators is real. Witnessing violence remotely can cause PTSD and moral injury. The moral compass of remote warfare is spinning. International law struggles to keep up. The world must confront these dilemmas before the technology outpaces our ethics. The cost of inaction is high. The future of war depends on the choices we make now. The next frontier is AI and autonomy. Today, most drones are piloted by humans, but AI is changing that fast. Algorithms can analyze surveillance data, spot targets, and even make decisions. The rise of lethal autonomous weapons, killer robots, is no longer science fiction. Proponents say machines could be faster and more precise, reducing human error. Critics warn delegating life-and-death decisions to algorithms is morally dangerous. Can a machine truly distinguish civilian from combatant? What if it malfunctions or is hacked? Calls for a global ban on autonomous weapons are growing. The most immediate impact: drone swarms coordinated by AI, overwhelming defenses. Defending against hundreds of autonomous drones is a nightmare for militaries. The US, China, and others are racing to develop these systems. The arms race is accelerating. The future battlefield may be run by code, not commanders. Drone technology is advancing at a pace that far outstrips our ability to keep it in check. Every year, new breakthroughs make drones faster, smarter, and more autonomous, raising urgent questions about oversight and responsibility. International laws like the Geneva Conventions were crafted in an era before remote-controlled or fully autonomous warfare was even imaginable. These frameworks struggle to address the unique challenges posed by drones on the modern battlefield. There's no global consensus on the legal or ethical limits of armed drones. Nations disagree on what's acceptable, and the debate grows more complex as technology evolves. The lack of clear regulation has fueled a rapid and often unchecked proliferation. Drones are now in the hands of not just powerful states but also non-state actors, militias, and even individuals. The risk of drone attacks on civilian targets is rising sharply, and the barrier to entry has never been lower. With off-the-shelf parts and open-source software, almost anyone can build or deploy a drone for hostile purposes. Efforts at international regulation have repeatedly stalled, as major powers remain reluctant to limit their own technological advantages or military capabilities. The world now faces a security dilemma: develop these advanced weapons to keep up, or risk falling dangerously behind rivals and adversaries. Without clear enforceable rules, we risk triggering a destabilizing arms race in AI and autonomous systems, one that could spiral out of control. The ultimate question remains: who truly controls these machines? Is it the human operator, the programmer, or the algorithm itself? Are we ceding too much power to algorithms and automation, trusting machines to make life-and-death decisions without human oversight? The decisions we make now about regulation, ethics, and control will shape not just the future of warfare, but the very prospects for global peace and security. The drone's persistent hum is more than just background noise. It's a warning of the challenges ahead. We must decide, and soon: do we control the machines, or do we risk letting them control us?